Today I'm going to take you on a virtual adventure to Six Flags New England, a very historical park located in Agawam, Massachusetts. We're going to talk about their rides, we're going to talk about their customer service, but most importantly, and first of all, we're going to talk about their ticket prices in this hopefully informative and hopefully fun review of Six Flags New England. Something that most enthusiasts are going to look at before visiting a park is how expensive is it to get into this park. You want to be able to get souvenirs and merchandise and food, so you want to have some leeway in terms of pricing. And Six Flags New England is not pricey at all. It's only $63.99 for a day ticket, which is not a bad price at all. Of course, with Six Flags, you normally do get a much cheaper day ticket when comparing them to other chains, just because you're substituting that quality for that quantity. You're also going to get a good-sized park with tons of rides, but not held to the same standard as other parks. And that's just kind of the sacrifice you have to make. You're not going to get the same cleanliness or atmosphere, which we will discuss in a second. Now, some of you might be looking for a good rundown of kids' attractions, but sadly, I did not get on many of their children's rides. I do, however, know that they have two distinct children's areas within the park, and included in those are a good amount of kids' rides, all of which I rode was only their kiddie coaster, the Great Chase. That was nothing more than your typical Zamperla family coaster, so there really isn't too much to discuss there. They don't really have many family attractions either. They have a carousel, a balloon ride race, and some teacups, but I wouldn't say their family department is anything spectacular. They do classify Catwoman's Whip as a family attraction, so that would be a family coaster, which I can completely agree with, but those are really the limits of their family attractions. Now, let's talk about something that everybody wants to get to Six Flags New England for, their roller coasters. Six Flags New England has a great collection of roller coasters. You have Batman the Dark Knight, Goliath, Thunderbolt, and of course the two highlight coasters of the park, Wicked Cyclone and Superman the Ride. Those two attractions alone make it worth the trip to Six Flags New England. They are fantastic rides, and I love them both. And talking about operations, though, they were nothing short of mediocre. Some rides are worse than others. Well, I was there. I do remember Superman was only running one train, which was causing a huge line. That should not have been the case because it was a very dead day that I was there. But I believe there were some mechanical issues with the other train, so I can't complain too heavy on them only running one train on that ride. So operations, though, overall, don't remember them being too good, don't remember them being too bad. When talking about the atmosphere of a park, I normally incorporate both the theming and the setting of that park. Something that Six Flags parks aren't really known for is their theming. I can confidently say that other than Six Flags Fiesta Texas, I have never really been impressed by a Six Flags park's theming. Six Flags New England is no exception in this category. There's really no theming in the entire park, and no, I don't really count just slapping DC characters on rides theming. I will say, though, that their atmosphere of this park has somewhat of a charm. It feels like an old-timey amusement park in some parts. But a lot of that is ruined when you get to the newer sections where there's DC theming. I'd say the same thing for setting of this park, other than Superman the Ride, which overlooks a beautiful body of water. It really does have quite a really nice setting, but the rest of the park is kind of meh. One area of the park that I cannot discuss is their entertainment and shows. I normally attempt to see at least one or two shows while I'm at a park, but back in 2018, this wasn't high on my priority list, so I wasn't able to get a feel for the entertainment department at this park, so I cannot discuss that in this review. There was no great customer service at Six Flags New England. No welcome, we're glad you're here, but at the same time, there wasn't anything too bad either. There wasn't any rude comments, there wasn't anything of that nature, so it wasn't too bad of a visit in terms of customer service. Something I did want to bring up is their weather policy, at least back in August of 2018 when I visited. There was about a storm 30 miles away from the park. I actually had to go to the weather radar to be able to see where the lightning was at because it wasn't at the park. You didn't see any thunder, no lightning, no rain. And the entire park shut down for about 2 hours, I would say. I was very disappointed at that because this is actually at nighttime. This is towards the end of the night trying to get those night rides in. And it was disappointing that I never got to ride those rides at night because of this poor decision to close the park's rides 2 hours before the park was supposed to close, and nothing ever came in the area. I do want to state that they actually did open up a couple of smaller attractions. No roller coasters opened up, but they did open up their pendulum ride, which I got to ride, and I don't really understand the logic there because a pendulum is a big metal machine as well, swinging up and down in the air. So it doesn't make any sense to me how that's capable of opening and operating, but not their roller coasters. So I was disappointed in that, and it was very strange for me that attractions like that could open up, and then the other ones that like the roller coasters couldn't. So if it was such a big deal in terms of the weather, why was one ride able to open and not the other? So that kind of affected my park visit negatively. It did. And I don't know if that's changed in the 2 years that I went. I don't know if anything's changed in that policy. I don't know if anyone else has ever experienced anything similar to that. It might have been just a one-time thing. It only ever is going to happen when I was there, and that was just a one-time thing, and it doesn't happen a lot. But that really negatively affected my trip. So that is something that, if it's in a storm, you might want to plan around that at Six Flags New England. I don't know, again, if that was just a one-time thing or what, but at least when I went, it affected my trip pretty severely. When I went back to the park in 2018, the food was mediocre at best. They had a Panda Express, and this is before the Chopsticks era, but they had a Panda Express, and it was pretty good Chinese food. It's not going to blow your mind away or anything. A Panda Express isn't bad at all. I also went to another dining location that I can't recall the name of at the moment, but it served your typical burgers, fries, pizza, that kind of foods. You're really just going to get your typical theme park food here, so don't expect much in this department. Merchandise is, well, Six Flags merchandise, some cheesy coaster shirts with some DC merch thrown in. There's not really much to talk about in this category with Six Flags. Their merch is just okay. All in all, Six Flags New England is a park that I would definitely recommend a visit to. It isn't going to blow your mind in any particular category, but it does have two great roller coasters with a nice supporting lineup behind them. There are also some bits and pieces of the park that do have some historical charm as well. It's definitely a park that needs to be checked out, especially if you claim to be an amusement park enthusiast. Thank you guys all so much for watching this review. If you guys like this video, please make sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'll see you guys all in the next video.